Growth. Now, because you'll be writing short stories, you won't have a room for real complex or really subtle growth. You can have it in a sort of different form where someone has a realization or changes something. You're not going to be really doing it in a small way because you don't have the length of time to be able to elaborate on it. So you need to do it in a way that people can see progress, and certainly in a character or in a storyline. Because if nothing seems to change, and even if the realization is that nothing in life changes, that's still a progression because we've learnt that through what has happened through the story. But if there's nothing, there's no conclusion, there's nothing to signify the end, there's nothing to say, well, they've changed in some way or there's something that's developed, we feel like the story sort of starts where it begins and there was no middle, then you haven't really got a strong story in there. So it needs to have some sort of growth. It helps to establish theme and characters, and particularly when you're looking at this idea of theme cannot be conveyed unless you have some sort of growth in your story. It also makes it meaningful and establish a connection with people, and certainly you want to be doing that. By having a sense of growth, we sort of take the ride and we follow their journey where they grow and they learn and they suffer consequences and all those sorts of things. We take it in, and even though the structure of a story should be fairly simple, you're allowed to have some sort of journey where people can follow on and match their experiences. And this is the thing, you're trying to establish a connection with your readers. So it must reach out to them in some way, and this is something that you need to have in your story. Some sort of moment that people can connect to, even if it's just a case of feeling what they feel, having a bit of empathy for the characters, that sort of thing. Having that connection allows people to be dragged into your story a little bit, and when you're looking at it in terms of it being marked, you would think about it in terms of how it's able to create meaning, because it's being able to point whoever's marking or whoever's reading your story in the direction where you want them to go. And certainly this is how you reach out to your audience. If you bore them to death and you're not really, or you're writing in such a plain and sort of straightforward style that you're not really giving anything for people to be pointed towards, then they're not going to get the point of your story. Now this can come through honesty. What I mean by honesty is tell the truth. You make a very truthful and hard-hitting statement that sort of gets people to go, well, that sort of happened to me once, and you can be very honest about it. Emotional or sensory, certainly it captures the senses and the emotions of people, and people can start to feel empathy. It can be nostalgic and make people think of their own past and certainly connect with whoever's in the story. It can be a moral question, something that gets people to feel challenged, or certainly a thought-provoking moment. A real or personal issue, something that you've been through, something that other people can connect based on your story. Something that's not cliched, not something that's been done 1,000 times over and they won't connect with it because they've seen it 1,000 times before. When you're trying to connect with your readers, try and make it something they haven't really heard that much or haven't heard it all before. Try and find something that's individual about your story.